Welcome back. Today's episode is all about hydraulic rams, specifically the double acting rams that you get on lorry cabs. I have used one of these to push my slide outs with, but as it sits at the moment they can't be used unless you plumb in a hand pump, and believe you and me, you'll be there a long while, a very long while. I have had one of these rams on a power unit that you get for a tipper, and it didn't work. Couldn't produce enough power to push it. Now I've had these apart. I can tell you there's an umbrella style valve in there, and the holes here that screw in, they're only a couple of millimetre if you're lucky. On a regular hydraulic unit you've got roughly around 6mm hole, you've only got about 2mm hole there, so that is also part of the reason why they won't work on a regular power unit. Now I need that valve gone inside here. I think how they work on the lorries themselves is I think the valve is a safety valve that stops the ram from collapsing if one of your hoses happens to break. That's what I think it's there. I think as soon as a force is put on the ram, it's putting more pressure into the ram, which is closing the valve, which stops it from coming out. This is a recirculating pump. You've got a little bit of fluid up there. My belief, and this is no science, I'm just from what I've seen on how these work, as you're pumping fluid in, I think the pump is pumping the fluid out at the same time, which is also how I believe the valve system work. Now look, I'm no expert, this is just a guess from how I've seen them when I've had these apart. I've literally cut them across there and I've looked at everything and I've tried to figure out how they work. There's not much information out there, so if there is somebody watching that happens to know exactly how they work, please put comments up without any insults. I'd be very grateful. That's what I think is going on, but my predicament is I need the ram for a different use. I've already made one before. I mean, it's crude, rudimentary, but it did the job. I've literally cut it across there, took the valves out, welded up the secondary hole, which is here, which the pipe that comes off there runs back into that block there and comes out here. I reckon I could have got away with just literally drilling the hole out larger, but I needed different fittings, so I didn't want to faff around spending 8-9 quid for adapters when it could have been done this way quite easily the first way. So that's what I did. The reason I'm changing this one is an old ram, came off an old Leyland of some sorts. The seal has dried out and gone. I kind of just give up with it now anyway. We've got another one here. I couldn't tell you what it came off. Yes I can. If that means anything to anybody, a 75E 15/5 whatever. That's all I can give you on that one. Yep, that's all I can give you. So what we're going to do, it's already fully extended, we're going to get rid of this pipe work. We don't need it, so that will go back to the yard of where this came from, and we'll cut straight across there on one of my saws. Then we'll remove the valve system. We'll then remove these pipe connectors off. We'll weld that hole and that hole up because we no longer need it, and we'll then take these pipes off that I welded on ages ago, as you can see, and we'll replace those holes. So we'll take the big pipe, weld in over here, bring that down so it aligns, and once I've done that I'm going to cut this block off here because I need that point, because this one is way too large. Saying that, ain't that much larger, but it's large enough to be a nuisance. So we're going to cut that off and we're going to weld that one back on exactly over the top of the welds there, because I feel confident that that will work. We'll push this in at that point, put some cold rags over the steel so we don't mark it up, because obviously the seals won't work to their best effectiveness. So that is my plan. Now I've done several videos on these. The questions in forums still keep popping up. How do they work? Can they be used? I'm hoping that this video will put all of those questions once and for all to bed, because I believe these are very effective rams. Now the other thing you need to remember about these is the speed they flow at. that's governed by the size of the tube and the shaft that comes out. That's a pretty big shaft. That takes up a lot of space within that tube system. Now on the push it will be slower than it will be on the pull, and the reason for that is this is a bigger mass, so it's going to require more fluid to go through in order to push this out. But when you're retracting it, at that point there's less space, so it requires less fluid, and you've still got the same speed rate of flow going in, so it's going to shoot in a lot quicker. I did speak about this on my skin up video that I put up, or haven't put up, I don't know where I'm at with that at the moment, and I was going to put a bypass pipe in here. I don't need to do that. I'm actually going to fit the bypass valve on the actual pump itself with a tap, so I can control the amount of fluids that go through. These run too fast and they're just not needed to go that quick. In fact, they're a bit dangerous going that quick. So we're going to actually have some fluid feeding back into the reservoir as they're pushing these. It's going to be really fine tuning it. Can't describe how fine, but one little tap of the tap might just be enough to resolve the problem to what I've got, and then I've got to find a way of fixing the tap shut. I would fit a pressure valve on there, but I don't think that would work, although I could put one of them variable pressure valves that you can adjust, but again I don't think it would work. So if we have a little bit of flow going back, that means less fluid will be going into these. Yes, they won't have the power to push if I had all the fluid going in, but it will slow down, and the pump should last longer because it ain't working as hard, and it'll be a lot quieter as well. It's a very noisy pump when I've got the flow rate up to max, and at the moment I've restricted the flow going in as well to try and slow it down, and the pump is struggling like you wouldn't believe. So we're going to get rid of those restrictors that I put in and put a bypass pipe in instead, going straight back to the reserve bottle. And that's all the talking I'm doing for now. First thing we're going to do is remove all the pipe work. So we'll undo that one. We need to get those out of the way, it's quite important. We've already removed the rubber hoses. It can be quite stiff. Once we've done that, we then need to get the grinder, cut the weld there, cut the welds there, cut the welds there. Then we can take it into the workshop, slice it across there. Got rid of the pipes, that side, there's a weld in the middle, brazed there. This is why they are so difficult to use on a regular hydraulic pack. That must be what, 3mm hole? You've got one there and you've got one there, and this is why they won't work. The pressure required to push the fluid through is immense. Now you could just get away, I'm going to make an assumption that you could get away with just literally drilling them both out and repiping it. It might be enough, but I suspect it isn't, because you've still got a similar issue there. You've got two filters as well in there, and also that is another problem. Behind those filters is smaller diameter holes again, which I'll show you in a minute when I pop those out. Right, we're going to cut it, but we're going to cut it just before the weld. Simply because I can rejoin there. I did on the last ones cut past the weld, but these saws don't like going through that solid amount of metal. That's quite a thick piece there, so we'll slice through there. There is your valve. That needs to come out. Right, using a socket and a gun. There you go, it's out. And that is what sits in there. So yeah, that's what's in there. Now I've got to try and get that out. Good slap is all that needed. There's your valve. So basically that's a little needle valve. Is there a spring in there? Nope, no spring. and that just basically moves in and out with the fluid pushing backwards and forwards. How that works, what it does, I couldn't tell you. But that is what is inside a lorry ram, and that's why you can't use them on regular packs. So that's gone now. What we now need to do is drill that hole out. No, we don't. We need to weld that one up. We need to weld that one up, and then we can reutilise that. So we've got to get the filter out so as we can drill that out. There you go. I drilled that one out to 5mm. That now goes all the way through where the thread is. Obviously, right, that hole is now drilled, but there is a little bit of stuff gone inside the hole. There's not a lot I can do about it. You're not going to get that out. That's the only thing you need to be aware of. If you have a magnet and you can fill it with fluids and flush it round and the magnet catch it, brilliant. But if you can't, then you're kind of, like me, screwed. Right, we've flushed it, cleaned it as best as possible. I could do a little bit more, but I'll deal with that in a minute. What I'm going to do is run this round the grindstone just to clean up all the metal. Run around that as well, run around that one, clean that one up. We're welding that hole up, we're welding that hole up. We're welding our new fitting that's coming off the old ram onto that. And by cleaning this area up as well, and then we'll turn our attentions to cleaning this up, means I can weld the two back together. You can see how thick the steel is. I mean, we are talking a good 6mm, I reckon. 5-6mm thick wall, so it can take a fair bit of pressure. That'll get welded back on, and by the time I'm finished it should look about as scruffy as what this one is, but it'll work, and that's all I need it to do. Right, I've ground it back, all the paint is ground back. What I haven't done is put an internal tape, a taper around the outside edge, and the reason for that is I don't want to make that wall any thinner, because I'm risking bleeding through with a welder. So the weld will just literally sit on top once I find the correct position where it was originally cut, which I believe is there, because it's going to be in line. Nope, it's there. Remembering that that is in line with that. So we're going to, first things first, we're going to weld that hole up, and then we're going to weld that hole up, and then we'll cut the fittings off the other one and put the first fitting on there, weld this onto here, and then once we've done that, we'll then cut the other fitting off, which is that one, which will get welded in onto there, and that will come round and go there, and then this ram will be almost ready to go on. The other thing I need to do is cut the eye off this ram, because the bolt that's going on is different sizes. Now I could, in theory actually, if I wanted to, just chuck that straight off and weld this one on, which is exactly what's needed. I could do that, but I'm not going to. The pipes are welded on. The reason I added that, and you can laugh at that all you like, I don't care, is the hole size is different on that one. I needed that hole size, and that ram is the best part of 4 inches longer than this ram. So the bolting points on the slide out, I've got to re-drill anyway. I should have cut that longer. I've actually extended a little bit, which I'm not worried about what it looks like rather. I just want it to work. That's all I'm interested in, and I have all faith in this. So the pipes are welded. As you can see, there's some heavy welding going on there, and I've done that deliberately because I don't want no leaks. That's tacked in there so it can't move around. That one is welded in. That one's all cut up. That's now ready for the skip, so we'll ditch that. Right, the moment of truth. We'll whack it back in, re-drill for that one, and see how this performs. I have no doubt whatsoever this is going to work, but I'm dubious to whether I've got leaks or not. That's the only other thing, and I hope that seal's good, because I've done this all for nothing if it ain't. That's the only reason I changed it, because the seal was leaking on the other one. And the only way to change that seal on the other one was to cut the end off and slide it out. I'm sure it comes apart here. There's a hole here, look. I'm wondering if you drill that out. There's something in there, I don't know. But yeah, I could have put a new seal in the other one, that would have been fine. But we've done it now. I need a shorter reach anyway on that slide out, because it's a bit, how can I put it, the slide out's not great. Even though I've reskinned it, it ain't great. So we'll put that on, and then I'll turn the power on and we can watch this thing move in and out. Right, I'm now drawing it in. Alright. Right, well, as you can see, it works. Batteries are a bit low, there's no leaks that I can work out, but oh, here we go again. The seal leaks on this one as well. Oh. Look at that. Oh, yes. See, there was no way of testing these out before I brought them home. I just literally had to take my chance with them. But it don't leak as much as the other one, so I might try and find a way around this, even if it means cutting the end off and replacing that seal with a brand new one and re-welding that end on. I am not doing another one. I've had enough. I don't know if you can see under there, but it seems to be okay. So that's it, people. That's how you convert a lorry cab tilt double acting ram into a regular everyday ram. I wouldn't want to use these on any JCBs though, because they are very high pressured, and I don't think that ram would survive for very long. But for simple little tasks, for pushing and pulling, I can't see no reason why they can't be used, especially for the hot rod custom car industry. So thank you for viewing, and I hope this video has helped you understand a little bit more about them. I'm still not much more wiser than what I was when I started, to be honest, but what you see is what you get with these. So yeah, thank you very much, catch you later, bye bye.